guys, today I have my Losi Mini T 2.0 brushless edition. If you guys have been around my channel for a while, you guys will know I did used to have a Mini T 2.0 before, but it was the original brushed edition. And when I got it, I was fairly impressed with the overall design of the chassis, just the chassis overall I was very impressed with. But when I drove it, it was pretty disappointing because even for me, who's used to driving nickel metal hydride batteries on like old vintage Tamiya buggies, even for me, I thought it was really slow and I couldn't really get the enjoyment I wanted out of it. So I ended up getting rid of it, but I was always interested in the Mini T, so I decided to pick it up again, but this time in the brushless edition. So looking more into the brushless edition, it wasn't a hard choice to go with the brushless this time, mainly because one, obviously it's gonna be faster and have a lot more power, but I also like the look of these wheels and tires much better. The spiked in the rear and the groove in the front. Also, the brushless edition comes with the white wheels, whereas all versions of the brush edition come with the neon yellow wheels, which I'm not personally a big fan of. And then I also like the look of this body way more than the brushed edition. I think it's a much cooler color scheme. The matte finish I think is also really cool, and just overall like the looks of this version much better than the brushed one. So this thing as of this point is only like 3 days old, but you can see it's already quite beat up because I've been having so much fun with this. I just couldn't help myself. So it is already pretty beat up, even though it's only like 3 days old. And I'll talk about like what stuff I what stuff I have to kind of fix now with it, but it has been performing amazingly. It's freakishly fast. It's arguably way too fast. Outdoors is obviously very fun because it's very fast. I did try to drive it on an indoor kind of foam or maybe carpet track, but in there in like really tight situations, it did have a little bit too much traction. It's also too fast to the point where if you try to accelerate too quickly, it would just pop a wheelie and just flip the whole thing over. Actually, on a high traction surface, it will even do like just standing backflips, which I think is insane for a two-wheel drive racing style stadium truck. It has an aluminum chassis for Pete's sake. So really low center of gravity chassis, but it's still popping standing backflips and stuff. It's just absolute insanity. But it adds to the enjoyment of this thing, and I don't know. I've been having an immense amount of fun with it. The tires on the brushless version are also much softer, so they also provide a lot more traction, but despite being very soft, and like I said, I have been driving this quite a lot, and the rears are pins, they are not wearing out as quickly as I thought they would. It could be because they're not actually spending a lot of time spinning out and like grinding the treads, and it's actually making traction and just spinning. But the treads have been wearing pretty well so far, so I'm really impressed of how soft they managed to get the tires, and how, while also making it last decently long. The matte color scheme of the body, while it does look cool, something you are going to have to deal with is, even if you drive it carefully, even your fingernail will end up scratching it because it is a matte finish. You can see my fingernail scratching it there. So that's something you're just gonna have to deal with. Mine was actually already kind of scratched on the hood out of the box, just from the box kind of rubbing on it. So you're never gonna get like a perfect one, but I think the matte finished one looks way cooler when it's scratched up. It looks much more like race car-esque. So I don't know. I think it adds to the look. And also, like I mentioned, because this thing pops wheelies so much and there's no wheelie bar in the back or transmission in the back, it is going to just flip all the way up onto the spoiler. So that your spoiler is going to lose paint fairly quickly as well. You can get wheelie bars for this thing online, so that might be something I might look into, just because the kind of driving I do with it. A lot of people do race these. I don't really have a place to race it, and most of the people that race the mini Losi Minis run the buggies because it's much more of a high-performing chassis compared to the truck. But I think the truck is more fun to drive just in an overall RC car sense. So I do have, I may end up getting the wheelie bar eventually. But I do have a brass front hinge pin mount coming to hopefully make it wheelie a little bit less. And I also do have a front bumper coming in, because in my excitement of running it and like popping it up curbs and jumping it and crashing it, I did end up wearing out the suspension arms already. Like I mentioned, this is only 3 days old and I've already kind of worn it out to this extent. Technically this is the front bumper, but it doesn't protect the hinge pins or anything, so kind of a pointless front bumper, I think. More of a skid plate than a bumper. But you can see it's quite far worn down on the arms there. So those are eventually going to wear out all the way and expose the pins. And actually it is starting to scratch the head of the pin. So I picked up a T-Bone Racing front bumper that will cover up the pins here and kind of add a little bit more protection. And I also picked up the RPM front arms on it. These updated Losi Mini T arms are very durable, and you shouldn't really have any like breakage issues with it, even on brushless power. Again, under like reasonable use. But yeah, the arms should hold up just fine. But I thought while I'm replacing stuff, just might as well upgrade to the RPM stuff. And also I'm quite hard on my stuff, so I thought I might as well just upgrade to that while I was at it. I also lost all the body clips already, so I am running these Latrax body clips, which I don't really mind. They were much cheaper than the Losi ones, and being silver, they're much easier to find. And speaking of finding the body clips, I don't have to lose the body clips anymore, because I did put a magnet at the bottom of my body. So after I take my body off, I can just kind of throw my body clips in there, and they'll keep all the body clips in place so I won't lose them. And that's just held on with shoe glue. It's very easy mod to do. In case anyone hasn't seen a Mini T 2.0 before, which I don't know at this point who hasn't, but here is the brushless system. I thought it was very interesting that the brushless is a combo ESC and motor. So you can see the plug is coming directly out of the motor, and that's because the ESC and the motor are integrated, which I think is pretty smart and also pretty cool. And it works very well. It has a lot of power. The punch is set up pretty aggressively, so it'll pop wheelies, it'll do slides, whatever you want. I love the stock tuning of this thing. I absolutely love this thing. Horizon Hobby and Losi definitely hit it out of the park with this brushless system. It's actually pretty difficult to find these things in stock because people keep buying them. So that they are definitely making lots and lots of money with this. The other reason I ended up getting the brushless edition is because on the brushed edition, the receiver and the ESC are comboed, and the motor is also hardwired to the ESC, which makes it very annoying to upgrade stuff. Whereas this one, like I mentioned, the motor and the ESC are integrated, so it's very easy to pop in and off and replace. And it does have a separate receiver, which means I can bind it up, and I can throw a Spectrum receiver in here and bind it up to my much nicer radio, which up with all the dual rate settings and Expo and all that, because It's currently bound to this cheap like mini radio, which it works just fine for like basic driving applications. But again, when I was driving it on the track, I really wished I could like tune the exponential on it, both on the throttle and the steering, because they were a little bit too sensitive for my liking. So that's something I would have liked to kind of adjust, and there's just no adjustments with this. There is dual rate adjustment and there is trim adjustment, but there's no exponential adjustment or anything like that. So that's something I wanted to upgrade, and I can now with the brushless edition. So that is something I will probably do. The stock Spectrum servo, it's unfortunately kind of expected with a lot of RTRs that the stock servo is going to suck, especially on mini vehicles, but Horizon Hobby definitely spent a lot of time and money engineering this thing, and they didn't skimp out on the servo. See, so this thing being two-wheel drive and also being very light, the servo doesn't have to have a lot of torque, but it is very, very fast. So that makes it very responsive, arguably a little bit too responsive at times on the track, but it is very responsive, and I don't really see myself replacing or upgrading the stock servo unless I break it. But it is also Metal Gear, I believe, and again, just a very nice servo. So no real complaints about the electronics in this thing like I had with the brushed edition. The battery on the brushless edition is also superior to the brushed edition. It is the same style battery pack, but one, it is a higher capacity pack. It's an 800 milliamp hour versus I think a 600 or a 650 or something. It's also a 50C discharge, unlike the brushed edition, which comes with a 25C discharge battery. So far superior battery on the brushless edition. And the brush edition now I think is going for like $150. The brushless edition is going for like $220. And for $220, I think it's definitely worth it. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy about spending more than like $50 on a mini RC, but the level of engineering here and the level of quality happening here, it's definitely worth the $220, and it outperforms a lot of my 10 scale vehicles I could get for that much. And 10 scale vehicles for $220 is usually brushed also. So having a brushless like race designed platform for $220, pretty good deal. It includes the battery. It even includes the battery for the transmitter. So literally fully ready to run, and very, very good deal. The shocks are also very well tuned out of the box, and they're also threaded body and adjustable. My brushed one had a problem where the stock shocks were leaking pretty badly, but this one doesn't seem to have that issue. And again, I have been bashing it pretty hard, and they're still not leaking in the slightest. So very happy with the overall build quality, overall quality of it. The shocks are tuned very nicely. I'm just very, very happy with it. You can see the chassis has seen a lot of little scratches on it, so definitely being used, definitely being loved. And the nice thing is, because these things are still well into production, if I completely trash it, I could always buy another one, or I could just slowly fix it and replace parts. But you know, at that point, is it even the same car? As for future plans with it, like I mentioned, I do have the upgrades coming in: the RPM front arms, the T-Bone Racing front bumper, the Hot Racing brass front hinge plate. I may end up getting the aluminum shocks just for bling, but I'm not quite sure about that yet. I will definitely pick up a couple more batteries once those come in stock. Right now, Horizon Hobby is having issues producing these batteries, so they're all out of stock basically everywhere. So the only way you're going to be able to get these batteries are by buying the RTRs. Yeah, eventually I will pick up a couple more batteries so I can run this for more than one pack. I will also replace the plug with an EC3 or IC3 because it does come with an EC2 out of the box, which works just fine for this, but I just don't have any adapters or any way to charge the battery on my nice high-end charger. Also, having EC3s on it will make it a lot easier to run like some random battery pack like this on it, so that's some quality of life upgrades for me. Again, I'm gonna switch out the receiver with a Spectrum one so I can bind it to my Spectrum radio, and then I also do have a J Concepts body for it. I picked it up at the hobby shop when I picked up the truck. It's the finisher body, so it has like the Ford F-150 look to it, and I think that's gonna be a really cool body to paint up and do. So that can be kind of like my track mode body, and this can be kind of my basher mode body. But I'm enjoying this thing immensely. The brushed one honestly was quite a disappointment. If you're trying to get into it, and you plan on upgrading stuff with something other than the Dynamite electronics, then maybe you can get into the brushed one and just throw all the electronics out or something, because you don't have a roller version of the Mini T. But yeah, I'm enjoying this thing immensely, and I actually can't wait for the sun to come up so I can bash this thing around some more. But until then, thank you guys for watching this kind of rambly, gushy video. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Mini T 2.0 if you have one or are looking to get one. And I will definitely make more videos on this, so if you want to see more of this, definitely stick around my channel. And until next time, have a nice day.